I'm reading an article here in regarding Deion Sanders in regards to the NFL draft. It says that he's ashamed of the NFL, which picked just one HBCU player. And Coach Prime, I want to say this. I like that you took the coaching job at Colorado. You are the first HBCU coach to go to a Power 5. I'm all for that. But I understand why people were upset. Many people were upset that you went to Colorado for many reasons. One of the reasons is this. Look at the tremendous impact that you had on Jackson State. You were able to turn Jackson State around immediately just because of who you are. A lot of these young men coming out of high school, they would love to play for someone like you. Look at your resume. Just your resume alone, when you talk about two of the greatest two-sport athletes of all time, is you and Bo Jackson. You played Major League Baseball at the highest level. You played NFL at the highest level. You are a Hall of Famer. Just think about you coming to a young man's house, recruiting him, how he's going to feel about someone of your caliber sitting in his living room. How do you think the young man parents are going to feel? You had the power to bring 5 stars to Jackson State just because of your resume. There's not too many coaches. Actually, there's no coach like you. There's no coach in the country like you. There's only one Prime Time. Not only did you upgrade Jackson State, you upgraded the entire HBCU community. I mean, College Game Day came to Jackson State. That was because of you and your impact that you had on that institution. So when you left to go to a Power 5, I was all for it. But some people like, man, you have the ability to upgrade the entire HBCU community. Just because of you, more 4- and 5-star players were considering HBCUs. You were attracting other former NFL greats to consider coaching there at these HBCU schools. But when you went to Colorado, all of that changed. But I'm all for it, though. I'm glad that you're at Colorado. You got to do the best for you and your family. And I think you know this, Coach Prime. You want to put your children in the best opportunity possible for Shedeur Sanders to go to the NFL. You know, in the back of your mind, he needs experience playing in the Power 5 level. And I'm just being honest, that's just how it is. And we saw it here with the NFL draft. Only one HBCU player made it, got his name called. Yes, you have a few others that were able to sign contracts to get their foot in the door, and I'm all for that as well, because I believe those players are NFL caliber players, but they're getting shunned because they played on the HBCU level. And that's really, without sugarcoating it, that's the reality of college football. Now, when you look back at history, yes, you have some of the all-time greats in football that played at HBCUs. We know that Jerry Rice played for an HBCU. Walter Payton, Steve Air McNair. I remember when Steve Air McNair was in college, he was lighting it up. He was in consideration for the Heisman Trophy, but he wasn't going to win the Heisman Trophy because he was at a HBCU. Are there great quality players in the HBCU? Of course there are. But again, a lot of these recruits or recruiters, they're going to look at the Power 5 first. They're going to look at the players from Alabama first, which they should. I mean, they have a lot of great players at Alabama. But how are you going to flip this around? How are you going to get some of the top recruits in the country to go to the HBCUs? You had someone like Prime Time in the HBCU. These kids were giving it a second thought. He landed Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was labeled a 5-star recruit out of high school. He also landed a 5-star kicker in Alejandro Mata. A lot of people don't know that Alejandro Mata, when he was coming out of high school, he was considered a 5-star kicker. If Coach Prime had stayed at Jackson State, he would have landed more 5-star guys. That's just his caliber. That's just what he had brought to the table. And that's why people were upset that he, well, some people, one of the reasons why they were upset is because the tremendous impact that he had on their community is no longer there anymore. But I'm not knocking him for leaving, because he did stay 3 years. And each of the 3 years that he was at Jackson State as the head coach, they were winning. back-to-back SWAC championships. So Coach Prime said this about Isaiah Bolden. He said, "You deserve to be drafted much higher, but I'm truly proud of you," the Colorado coach wrote. "I know how much you want this. I'm ashamed of the 31 other NFL teams that couldn't find draft value in all of the talented HBCU players. And we had 3 or more draft-worthy players at JSU." It says 4 HBCU players were selected during the 2022 NFL draft, an improvement after none were selected the year prior. There was hope this year could see even more growth. The NFL held a combine for HBCU players in 2021, an effort that was delayed 1 year due to the pandemic. This year, all 32 NFL teams attended the event, which was hosted by the HBCU Legacy Bowl, the postseason all-star game to showcase HBCU players. 47 players participated. I honestly think if he had stayed at Jackson State, more players would have gotten more of a look, but still quite a few may not have gotten selected in the NFL draft in these rounds. And it was nothing much Coach Prime could do about that, but the longer he stayed, that could have possibly changed. But again, I don't want to make this video making it seem like I'm bashing him from going to take the job at Colorado. I love that he took the job at Colorado. He has to do what's best for him and his family. And he knows that if Shedeur Sanders has aspirations of going to the NFL, more than likely he needs experience at the Power 5 level. And that's just the reality, folks. Hopefully that one day changes. But there has been a lot of great NFL players to play on the HBCU level. A lot of them went on to the Hall of Fame. But again, in closing, they're always going to look at the Alabamas, the Georgias, and all of them of the world before they even look at the HBCUs. That's just a fact. If you're in the HBCU, you have to be extraordinarily good. You have to be damn near like Steve Air McNair just to get a nod. And that's not fair. But that's just my thoughts. What say you? Drop a comment below. Let me know how you feel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Take care.